Hello, everybody, and welcome to RPM Esports F1 Season 8, Round 7. We're here in the sunny city of Imola, bringing you the action today. You've got myself, the entity, as well as RPM Booty in the party.
Good evening, everyone. Good to be back.
Good to have you back. It's good to be back myself. It's been quite a while since I was last here. Yes, with in the comms booth. That being said, I've got no audio at all on the circuit.
Ooh. We have the first interesting strategy call with Matti probably setting his first lap on medium tires. For now, he's the only
Yes.
one.
Yes, doesn't look like
Mediums.
he's the only one. I'm sure he will go to the softs as
Yeah,
the
later on.
session goes, but definitely want to flex early on by setting
Yeah.
some early standards on a medium outlap. Let's see who we've got as the majority of drivers now out on the outlap. Who it will be first to make their way round. It looks like a Williams. It's Tonkek who will be our first driver to complete the lap as they go into the two double left revatsas.
I will follow the Haas right behind from Go.
Fantastic. I wonder if that Haas is going to be close enough. I think they're a bit far back to benefit of a tow from
Yeah, it's too
the
far.
Williams ahead.
That's definitely too far.
Let's go Druid.
As we've got Alex in the chat cheering on Druid tonight, as we see Tonkek coming out of the Tozer hairpin into the sweep, and everybody got yellows on the circuit, but I believe that's as the Alpha Tauri is just moving out to the way of the drivers coming round who are on the lap. Now got 5 drivers on the outlaps, the rest on the circuit. We've got a couple of drivers still in the pits. Tomcat going through the chicane, rather difficult chicane. I often find here racing in Imola, as you want to cut as much of it as you possibly can, as that's where the time is. However, very easy to cut it. And yes, Glass Tech, thank you for commenting. We are aware that there is no game audio. It is something that we will be getting sorted for the race for certain. Yes.
So we have the first 2 lap times from Tonchek and Go.
Yes, not too much between them. Goey did drop back a little bit further than expected. I wonder if he's going for a back-to-back lap as we ride with him currently.
Nelly Henk, the next across the lap with a 17.0. And Kieran across the line. Now
Leakey's
we will have a lot of
invalidated.
times.
There's a Red Bull coming across the line. Let's see who that is. That is Matty on those mediums. And not too far off the pace either. 5 tenths off the lead on the medium tyres. I just wonder as the times come in whether they'll be slipping down the order. There's Smith, we just jumped on board with, setting the early pace, 3 and a bit tenths quicker up to first in the Mercedes.
Now we have Raika, who will start his lap now.
Right, and I think this is going to be a good opportunity for us to just momentarily pause the stream and see if we can get the audio back. Not entirely sure exactly why the audio has not connected, as it's never been a problem in the past, but we will get that to double check, and we'll get this stream right back as soon as we can.
just thought he was completely cutting the
Right,
first chicane.
we've brought the audio back. I can now hear some audio. I can hear engines running, so hopefully everyone watching along at home, in the gym, wherever you may be. I know not everyone is Giraffe 24 hours in the gym, but if you are, it's a great place to listen to us. If you're ever on the treadmill, you can always pull us up on YouTube. It is a fantastic place to watch RPM nonetheless. I know I was doing it earlier in the year. Yeah, so what we have missed, NXX crashing. You said it was on the in-lap, was that, Booty?
On his in-lap, yeah, he sat his fast lap. And then exit of turn, well, technically it's turn 4. But like, at the exit of the first chicane, basically, he dropped it. I didn't see it exactly, I just saw it on the minimap. But I think that's what happened.
Interesting. It's like we might have to hear from him in the chat. Coming out of Tamburella, as most of the time it does. It's a gravel trap at the exit there, corner. So how he's managed to lose it there, who knows? Kieran in the chat there, hoping to get on the podium today. Good to hear that you are also watching along. And yes, fingers crossed for you. A good outlap to begin with, getting you into 4th position. Not quite on the podium. I would have thought with the elimination of Giraffe and myself from Championship, we would have been seeing your name at the very top rather than just aiming for podiums. Get better, Kieran. We expect more. Currently out on the circuit, though, we have got Bitcher, and he's experiencing a different track layout of Imola than what we are used to seeing. There we go, a little bit more of the same there. We already saw that they had done track limits as the track on the right hand side of the screen there. All red. Someone else saying there you have binned it on their 2nd quick lap in a row. It's a very easy circuit just to overshoot your track limits, clip a curb, cause a spin, but it's one that every corner has an extra tenth if you push a bit harder. So difficult circuit.
Tonchek, he's on a pretty good
Yes, well, you were right on calling that. Unfortunately, it wasn't quick enough to get onto that. But yes, fastest by nearly a tenth. I was riding on board with Matty, who's now changed out to the soft tyres. But they definitely got held up there, coming out through Aqua Minerale by the Alpha Tauri. I wonder if that was... couldn't have been Rusty Oil. It's inorganic. Oh, no!
A
fellow commentator. It's alright, he can't say anything bad about me tomorrow because I'm not on the circuit. To be fair, I could say that either way. I'm either not racing or I'm not on the circuit because I'll bin it, as we all witnessed me doing so with commentary, live commentary of me doing so last week in Brazil.
Evening lads, good luck Alpine. Just
see learner driver in the comms booth.
Just basically wasted one set of soft tires for that, because we saw it was his outlap, his first lap on that tire, and he went back into the pits. So meanwhile we have Glader on a pretty fast lap. He's in the last sector now.
And Lost Glader, he's one of those drivers that if you can get a lap together, you'd expect to see him right at the very top. And this one looks rather neat through the final corners. And we said exactly that. It's fastest, a 1:14.8. Further 4 tenths out at the front. The first driver to get into the 1:14s. As we flick through, the action comes thick and...
Kieran on the lap right now.
Okay, let's have a little look. Kieran, yep, coming through the final corners is Kieran. A little above the apex, he does track limits and pulls into the pits there, does Kieran. Let's have a little watch on the McLaren teammate, that's Dino, coming round the final corners. That's enough to see them up to 5th position, so 4 places there from their previous position.
And we have Raika and Jay Leakey both starting their laps now.
Yeah, we've also got Goey starting a lap.
There's... Oh, yeah, oh no. It's Rusty who is making plates for faster drivers coming from behind in a pretty adventurous way. But he makes it work, so rather do it like that than not do it at all. On with Chaos, who didn't set a lap yet, starting his...
Yes, in fact, we will stick with Chaos on this lap, with there being 5 minutes remaining on the session. Most drivers coming in sticking up. In fact, we're not going to stick with exactly that, as he invalidates with the curse of the commentator. Let's see who we can stick with.
Jay Leakey coming around the final corner, and he invalidated as well. And Raika in the pits as well, so none of the drivers who started their lap actually finished their lap.
Yes, I was just flicking through there, seeing if there's anyone who isn't. Inorganics now out on the circuits, getting heat into their tyres.
Ivor started his lap.
Ivor started their lap. Where is Ivor? There he is in the Ferrari.
Does not invalidate.
Perfect. So he's gone through Tamburello. We're catching up here as he goes through Villeneuve chicane into Tosa. And the driver ahead there, the Alfa Romeo, moving out of the way on the exit of the corner there.
Matti now going through the last corner on a flying lap and is looking pretty good for now. I don't think it's enough for pole, but he will improve for sure, and he improves up into P6. And Goey on a lap as well, but I think that Ivor now in the chicane.
This has been a very clean lap from Ivor. However, he has used all of his ERS. So the final sector being the sector of which you want to utilise that ERS the most, as you're finally getting the power down. And he's also off the track, and yes, no ERS. Somehow doesn't invalidate. All over the place on the final corners. I think he's angry. I think he knows we're watching along. And, I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get back into the pits and back round. But without ERS, he's going to have to put the foot down and get a move on with to get another lap in before the end of qualifying.
Rusty's up. Oh no, I think he retired in the pits.
Okay, so Rusty's retired. I think that's Inorganic out on the track. I'm just catching up with Matty, who's going into the final corners. And the two Ravazzas, nice and clean, and they're going straight into the pits. And they are going to have enough time to do another lap.
If we see some advent... Oh no, we see Ivor actually keeping it on the track instead of cutting corners to save time. So, never mind, there we have it. Across the track, cutting the chicane. But now I think he's on low fuel. So it's not working out well for him. Let's hope he still has the time to go around once more.
I'm currently watching Inorganic round the circuit, round the two Ravazzas. It comes off the circuit again. Somehow doesn't invalidate. That's twice he's been off the circuit. I reckon he's using his RPM admin roles in some sort of hoodoo voodoo black magic malarkey here. Is RPM Inorganic has definitely would have had 2 track limit violations had I have been the chief steward on the day. But we have got now the most of the drivers out on the circuit, or heading out at least anyway.
Tonchek through the last corner, he improved by 0.2 in the middle sector. I didn't see before, but it's looking like a really good lap. Let's see if he can snatch provisional pole away. No, he can't.
Oh, very tight, less than a tenth between Tonchek and Lost. Definitely did gain the time, kept it nice and tight at the final corner, but not enough to see them go first. I wonder if they're going to have a cool down lap and then go again, or whether that is all that they have left in the tank.
Listening to the stream and racing is fun.
Almost 4/10 in the middle sector. So let's see what he can do.
Yes, coming out the final corner is the Mercedes. A bit more cautious out the final bend as what we have seen other drivers. But it's an improvement nonetheless, but only enough to see him move to 8th. As we've got 2 Alpines now coming across the line. First of all, we have Chaos, who I think was on a outlap. I think Rodo was the same, so they've just crossed the line to start their laps.
With Smith starting the lap and now Dino coming across the line, and he improves up into P4 and overtaking NXX, who's out of the session, which is a free position for Dino.
Right, so we will bring everyone one by one as they cross the line with the checker flag now out in the session. So the first who's going to cross the line is going to be Goey. Now this has been it's been a valid lap from Goey in the Haas, and it's a nice lap as well. Great exit out the final bends. Sees them move up to 5th. As we also have we had a McLaren cross the line just there. I believe that was Kieran who's got the flag.
Yeah.
Moved himself up to 4th. Let's see if we can catch the Mercedes coming around the final bend. It's Jay Leakey.
Going
And they're
improving.
And in that,
Look at my time, then learn a driver low.
We have... I think Matty is still on a fast lap. Oh, and Smith as well. Smith improving by 4.5 tenths in the middle sector. This could be a pole lap.
this could indeed. It is
And
at the
it
moment, but let's
is.
quickly flick back to Matty
No,
and see if
let's
Matty's
see
got
Matty.
anything more. Matty puts
No.
himself up to 4th, so Smith, our current championship leader, gets the fastest lap so far.
Yeah.
Let's just see if Cavalos is able to break that. Cavalos up into 12th position. Finally putting a time on the board is Cavalos.
Snelling won't improve, and now we have our starting grid here, because everyone else isn't on a flying lap anymore. So
Perfect,
Smith
yes.
lost.
Yeah, there we go. Well, we anticipated Smith to be up there with him being our current championship leader. Chaos Droid saying he couldn't get a proper lap in. I wonder if that was, with being such a small circuit, the number of cars out there on the track and trying to find a gap, or whether that was invalidations that cost Chaos. But yes, in terms of the order, Tonkek showing he has got phenomenal pace going into this race here in Imola. As we say, Smith, our championship leader, we would have expected to see Smith in a Mercedes up the top. We did mention Lost Glader early on as well. Again, if a driver who, if we can get that lap together, again, going to be very difficult to stop. And it wouldn't surprise me if Smith and Lost will be fighting the whole way. In 4th position, we've got Matty. 5th is Kieran. Kieran hoping today to be on the podium come the end. Kieran currently sitting 2nd in the Drivers' Championship. Dino or Dino, I've always called him Dino. He's probably older than me, so definitely a Dino to me. He's currently in 6th, completing a nice McLaren 3rd row. The Haas of Goey was 7th. In 8th, we have NXX, Jay Leakey in 9th, Riker in 10th, Bija in 11th, Cavalis in 12th, Rusty Orkan 13th, Snellhenk 14th, Eijver 15th, Chaos 16th, Inorganic and his fun adaptations of a racing line in 17th. Rodo was in 19th. That was an interesting one for Rodo there, as I would have expected to see Rodo a bit higher up in the standings. Is there any surprising names that you picked out there? Mr. Booty, any surprise names that you picked out from qualifying there in positions that you didn't expect them to be?
Well, what surprised me a bit was I thought that NXX, of course, would be definitely higher than P8, but of course he had that incident. So it's pretty unfortunate for him. GUI had a great qualifying, starting in P6.
Yes, Gary currently near towards the bottom in the championship standings, which I think it does a bit of injustice for the Haas driver, who does very secretively go about their business in most races. Hasn't been their season so far, but hoping to pick up some more good points this week. I do also have to agree. Yes, NXX, a driver that definitely has the pace or some pace about them. But it's just a matter of consistency, unfortunately, for the AlphaTauri driver. Did just move down from Premier Division at the start of the season. And sorry, one person we did forget to mention there was Mocky in the Haas, and we've already got disqualifications for Eijver. Eijver saying he was watching along on the stream, thought it was fun watching on the stream and racing at the same time, and has just shown to us that he cannot do both at the same time. Let's have a little look then and see what tyres everyone is going for. And a nice mixture on the grid. That's what I like to see. Some people gambling further back as well.
Yeah, we have a lot of mediums and hards as expected. And Chaos and Inorganic on the soft, starting in 16 and 17.
I just wonder, are they preying on a safety car on the softs, or is it a race where the softs can last and then go to the hards?
I don't think soft to hard would work.
Either way, definitely hoping to get a good launch on those soft tyres.
And then to get a fortunate
chance of rain around lap 20
throughout the race.
Also, interesting feedback there in the comments from Kieran that there's the potential of rain around lap 20 is what they expect. Let's hope it's not too much rain to flood Imola, as it's been known to do.
Let's see how GUI will start, because he's surrounded by hard tires. So yeah, I'm wondering if he will have how his start will work out.
Yes, so I think the aim is going to be definitely for those front four medium runners to get to those 20 laps, get till the rain. But having very worn medium tyres on a very slippery, greasy circuit in Imola, one of the tracks that does get very greasy very quickly when the rain starts coming down. It's going to be an interesting one to see, all four with the same strategy. And as you say, who knows if there is a safety car early on. We've got 19 drivers today. Some on softs, some on hards. Anything could happen.
To be honest, I'm not 100% sure if I would trust the game with there actually being rain, because rain around lap 20 could...
Rain would be great. For me, low.
As the race is underway, and Tonchek had a pretty good start, but he's boxed in alongside Lost Glader already, as GUI actually lost quite a few positions at the start. That wasn't the start GUI would have hoped for.
Yes, I'm just seeing it's the two McLarens side by side. They're giving us the best camera angle here of the race ahead of them. No changes to the front four through the first sequence, as we have just lost someone out the back of the pack.
And
Rozo has been clipped.
Rusty went down the inside of Raika, and they actually made contact in Tosa. And GUI tried to slip past, but he didn't just make it. But GUI, I wonder what happened to him at the start, because he lost 3 positions.
Potentially boxed in, would have had the better start, as you mentioned, on the hard drivers around to either bog down, as we see what looks to be a Aston Martin having to take evasive action over the chicane, and that's seen them lose 2 positions. Tomoki and Bitger ahead.
And Chaos going past Jay Leakey.
See NXX right on the back of the gearbox of Kieran going into turn 1. Round the outside goes the AlphaTauri and gets the move done as well. So now NXX splitting the 2 McLarens, who were very, very tight to each other through the first sector of the opening lap.
We have Chaos going for a move on these softs against Snelleheng. Of course, Chaos now flying with these soft tires.
Yes, all the way up to 11th place now. Chaos cutting their way through the field with the majority of drivers now ahead of them on those hard tyres. Just wonder exactly where they're going to find themselves in a few laps' time.
We had Ivor in the pits. I missed that.
Yes, I think that could have been the first lap contact between Aja and maybe Rodo. I think it was Rodo that we saw facing the other way. Might have been Aja that got caught up with that one. As we just, unfortunately, the game glitching out a little bit in terms of the intervals, showing certain drivers to be a lot further ahead than others.
Inorganic taking a pretty interesting line through the chicane there. Yeah, oh, now we have DRS activated.
Yes, DRS activated, and there already seems to be a couple of gaps. We've got our front 4 races, as we just see, going, and Rusty Oil Can. Oh, there's contact, and Rusty Oil Can does very well to keep all 4 wheels facing the right direction. Does lose a position to Chaos, who's now up to 10th position on those softs, and it's already flashing on their lightest Chaos, so they need to be doing their best to charge that. I wonder if there's damage. Doesn't look like there is. There's definitely a front wing intact, but Rusty Oil Can definitely nursing it round some of these corners after that contact.
Yeah, well, Chaos on the soft tires already gained 6 positions in almost 3 laps, so it's a pretty good start for him.
Yes, just showing the position change on screen now. You can see Moki's made up some places, but yes, as you say, rightfully so, Chaos making up the positions early on, but that light is already flashing on the back of that Alpine. Smith with consecutive fastest laps as he pulls away ever more from Lost, but isn't able to drop Lost out of DRS range, and I think Lost is going to do their best just saving up their ERS and sticking behind the Mercedes man for the moment.
I don't know about you, but I see so many people exceeding track limits.
Yes, I'm sure it's not going to be long until those warnings come in, as drivers have the bit of shock when it comes to how heavy those cars are when it comes to the race as to when they were in qualifying.
Especially Imola is when it comes to track limits. You can get a penalty pretty easily around this track.
Oh yes, I always thought it was one that you really got to be in the flow for some of the corners at Imola, and once you're out of that flow, if one corner goes wrong, then the next, and the one after that as well, and there you are, 3 corners, 3 track limits, and you've already had 3 seconds only in one sector.
Oh, we have now Glader 5/10 behind Smith. That Smith really good throughout the last 2 corners, so he's managing to build a gap there. He almost won 2/10 in the 2 laps.
Smith saving that ERS as well was lost, even with DRS still draining it behind the Mercedes. Just shows that Smith feels rather comfortable at the pace that he has set at the moment.
Nelly Hank looking for a move on Rusty Oil Can, but crucially for Rusty, he had Chaos in front, which meant Snellehank couldn't overtake Rusty.
This is another battle on the track as well that I'm currently just keeping tabs on, which is NXX between the two McLarens got very close to the back of Dino through the first sector. And well, for anyone who has been following RPM in the last couple of seasons does know that NXX does put on a show, whether there's contact, a good overtake, or whatever there is. There's always something happening with the AlphaTauri driver. And
Rusty, he had enough of chaos, because we saw chaos moving a bit from side to side, defending its position. That and as we see NXX past Dino with DRS on the straight.
Yes, we did just momentarily have yellow flags there pop up. I don't know exactly why that is. I think it could be Inorganic, who's dropped down to the back of the pack, potentially had a moment in the final corner.
Rusty, Chaos and Snelleheng, that is a battle worth watching.
And let's see if we can catch this battle. Here we are. So yes, they have. You can see how they have been battling as they've been dropped 4 seconds to Goey ahead. Goey probably loving that at the moment after not having the start that they would have perhaps wanted on those medium tyres. And interesting track layout there for Chaos, who may already be struggling on those soft tyres, as Snell Hanks right on the back of the Alpine as we come through Aqua Minerale. Just notes that Lost has got a lot closer to Smith. Yes.
Lost Glader going for a move around the outside and with yellows, and it's Inorganic who's round in the chicane. So while the soft tires paid off for Chaos, they did not pay off for Inorganic at all.
Yes, and Lost going around the outside there of turn 1. Now I know there are battles behind, and it's not discrediting any driver, especially that battle between Chaos and Snell Henk, because they're still very close to one another. But I am just interested to see what Smith is going to do in return with our new race leader of Lost. Smith still has a lot of ERS in the tank and is managing that ERS a lot better than Lost. However, Lost pulling away nearly already a second ahead.
Here we have the first 2 penalties for GUI and NXX, both getting 3 seconds for track limits, as we already said. Probably we'll see a few more penalties throughout the next few laps.
And surprisingly, Smith has been dropped by Lost Glader. Lost using again a bit of ERS to do so, but
softs only wear 5% per lap. Should still be fine.
You've got to pull out of DRS. Use that ERS to pull out of DRS. That's a fantastic move, and driving away from Lost Glader. Momentary interruption as we have a message coming in from Learner Driver.
Lost it. Matty lost it. I just followed NXX, and Matty lost it out of turn 1.
Was it Matty himself that lost? Oh, it looked like someone just... It's Goey just lost it behind Matty's rejoined to the circuit. Wasn't there to interfere, and Goey's just lost it as well. Lost their front wing.
Yeah, it was Matty dropped it on his own. That's over weird. And yeah, Goey, of course, now missing his front wing.
I just wonder if Matty's got any damage. Doesn't look like Matty does, but Goey definitely... They dropped it on their own, and they did gain some damage. Unfortunately, did the Haas. So not a lap to remember for Goey, who's now slipping down the order. There's half a circuit to go. As Inorganic picks up a track limit warning, and someone else is off the circuit. It is Inorganic.
It's Inorganic. Oh, this of course now benefits Goey, so he can change his front wing.
Yes, those soft tyres apparently going down 5% per lap as NXX gets a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pits. Now he may be able to get the chance to serve that 5-second penalty later on in the race with the expected rain at what would have been around lap 20. It may now be earlier with the safety car coming out.
And someone who won't like this at all is Chaos, because just 2 laps ago he went into the pits and he actually as well got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pits. Now,
yes, rather unlucky for
all the way at the back of the grid with additional 5 seconds.
As we see them use some of the ERS, see if they can get ahead of anybody. I think at this stage for Chaos, if we can get ahead of any driver, it's going to be an achievement, and he is going to get through quite a few there actually. Moves himself up to 12th place, but now does, as you say, have that 5-second time penalty that they have to factor in.
Mock is staying out on mediums, so we saw a lot of right changing tires under the safety car, and Glader and Smith, for example, they already were past the pit lane entry by the time the safety car came out, so maybe we will see more medium drivers now entering the pits.
I do think mediums were the tyres to go on to from here, especially if you were on the hards already. Perfect opportunity to go and get those mediums on and carry you through to the rain. I think those softs may get you there, with Learner Driver giving us the intel there that they were at just over 5% per lap, and might get us through to about lap 18 with 40 to 50% tyre wear on those soft tyres, which is now when we expect that rain to come in. So Bitger might have played quite a good card here if he's able to preserve those tyres for a couple of laps under this safety car.
Yeah, if you look at the sky,
yeah, definitely darker in the in the air. You can see as we drive through the first sector that it's definitely getting darker.
He was on softs. Oh, do we see a gamble?
We have just seen a gamble. I thought it was going to be a gamble.
Intermediates.
I thought it was a gamble on the softs from Bitger, and I was fully behind their gamble to go onto the softs. But this is a gamble like we've never seen. He's gone for the inters, and it's not even raining. They're going to turn into slicks before the rain comes in.
Yeah. I don't know this call, but it's called that gamble. So, yeah, let's just look out for when the first drops will appear on the screen. But by then, Virtue will already have lost a lot of time to the front.
Yes, I feel Bitger definitely was ready to take a gamble, whichever the gamble was, be that the soft tyres or the intermediates. Always wanted to take that gamble, as they're not quite where they would have wanted to be at this moment. But definitely interested to see if that rain is going to come in a lot sooner than expected, and whether that's the right call or not. Obviously, we are going to have another lap under this safety car. And someone who is going to love the fact that we've got a safety car is this man here in the Mercedes, Smith. They were our race leader, set the early pace as well with a couple of fastest laps in the first 4 laps, but overtaken by Lost, and then they were lost themselves. Over 1 second behind the Ferrari, and didn't look like they were closing in to benefit off DRS. So here's another opportunity for them to get a bit closer to the back of that Ferrari and potentially sniff out that race
we have
victory.
Gooey going to Inter as well.
Must be interesting what the drivers are hearing then on their team radios when asking for these weather reports. I just wonder if the rain is now imminent. And if it is, then the gamble may be worth it, as you're not going to pull away a whole pit window with the safety car restarting and then the rain coming down only a few laps after we go green again. And you'd presume the safety car with everyone in the same sector as Goey coming into Akram and Riley. There it is. The safety car will be in this lap. And yes, those skies above have definitely got darker. That rain must be imminent. Just looking on a lot of drivers, see if anyone's in any other part of the track to another, see if there are any drops. I just wonder, I know that Lost and Smith's having to play the game here of when will the Ferrari go, but the longer you leave it, the more rain there will be on the circuit. He has gone, he had a moment on the exit of the final Ravazza there, but seems to have got off okay. Tomczak is right on the back of Smith. Flicks to the outside in the Williams. And it's harsh defended. And it's well seen off by the Mercedes.
NXX going past Mocky. Of course, Mocky on these 11-lap-old mediums.
Oh, and Tolkek thought about a move into Villeneuve, but backs out of that one as well. We see NXX.
He's off the track. And he lost 3 positions.
Yes, one of which to NXX, who's flying through the pack. They've made up a place on
3 positions.
Yes, those fresh medium tyres makes up a place on Riker coming out of Toza. He's been able to get onto the power a bit earlier.
But of course, NXX already used more than 50% of ERS this lap. So
they have indeed, and they have got that 5-second time penalty to serve in the pits. As Kieran has a moment. Yep, Kieran just has a moment there.
And then flying past Kieran as well. Oh, and we have Ivory's round. No. I think Ivory, because we had yellow predictions.
Yes, those intermediate tyres, it's not quite wet enough for them at the moment as I ride with Matty, who's thinking of a move on Riker and the Williams, but I think Riker's carrying a lot more straight line speed.
And it's past Dean as well.
He's right on the back of Tolkek. We've got yellow flags.
Oh, and this. Oh! Rusty and Rodo are out.
Lots of contact here. We've got a safety car now, I think, and a red flag. A red flag, yes. There was lots of drivers. We had 2 drivers out.
Oh, I missed that.
I was going to say, we had some contact there on the circuit, but it was 2 drivers who were completely off the track that retired. And I think a combination of the lot there is what's brought out this red flag, as there was nowhere to go without there being a vehicle that wasn't going at full speed. So if you were coming through from behind, that's then definitely some evasive action to be taken, and therefore the red flag has been thrown. Now, be interesting to see, are we going to go into a red flag and into onto the grid with the wet weather? How long does it take in game minutes for the rain to start? As it looked as though it was only going to be a couple of laps time before we saw some rain. I would have thought if we were on a safety car, a lot of the drivers would have come in and gambled on those intermediates. And it has started to spit, but everyone's on the soft tyres. No one takes the gamble, which is very interesting, given that we had a few on the inter to begin with. And lights out, away we go. Little greasy getaway and lost the move.
Amazing start.
Drivers on the grass already. As Smith might not have made the right call. NXX sneaks through to P2. I don't know if Smith's made the right call on tyres, going on the mediums whilst everyone else on the softs, because they know those intermediates are calling out for all the drivers shortly. And some on the hards, which is interesting. I just wonder if they've run out of tyres to be on already. As NXX flying through the pack there at the start. Smith right on the back of Tonkek, but on those medium tyres. As you see, Kieran rub on the back of his teammate in the McLaren, thinks about a move into the chicane into Alta. Thinks twice about it. Probably the right decision. Snell Henk makes a move. Ivory's round, yes.
Out of the chicane, he lost it. Well, he didn't fully spin, but he had a big moment and was off the track. Oh, and we have another driver. Completely in the gravel trap.
It's Bitcher who was on the intermediates and came in for the softs.
Kieran and Moki and Cavolis.
I've got a feeling this could be a fantastic call, especially for Kieran. Kieran was right on the back of Dino out of that first lap since the red flag, and it gives them the opportunity to go again. But they've gone to the softs. I think they might have chosen the wrong tyre. They might not have changed as everyone else goes on to the inters.
Moki, Kieran and Cavolis, all three got 5 seconds for speeding in the pits.
Oh, disastrous for Kieran. He picks up a time penalty, but he also goes on to the wrong tyres. So he's thrown away an opportunity at being in the top 3. Obviously, we're still only at half race distance, so it's all very much still to play for. And there is more than likely going to be another safety car to save the McLaren driver, but I'm sure that's not what they intended at that point. As NXX still keeping up nicely with Los Glada, I still believe we have got DRS. It hasn't been disabled just yet.
Or maybe, yeah. As we see Matty going past Riker.
In fact, DRS hasn't been enabled yet. There we go. DRS has now been enabled this lap. As
5 seconds for speeding in the pits. You really have to be careful. We saw it with, I think, 4 out of 5 people that just went in the pits since the restart.
As
you
we
have
see,
to be really careful.
Riker and Matty still going at it with each other. Riker getting back ahead that time. Matty keeping this pace on the hard tyres. Just makes you think if he was on those softs as to where he could be. Or maybe this rain isn't going to last long. Maybe the rain is only going to be for a couple of laps, and that's why we've got some drivers on the hard tyres, some on the mediums.
Kieran going to the inters finally.
Right, Kieran. Yeah, definitely had an error there, did Kieran, as went into the pits and fitted the softs. Might have had the Ferrari pit crew.
Riker and Matty made contact.
Yes, Riker's spun round. I don't know who's at fault. As, yes, Matty's slowing down to... looks like Matty's going to be slowing down to let Riker through, and he has done so, yes.
Chaos and Snelleheng, and what happened with Snelleheng? Oh my god, this is pure chaos here. Snelleheng went slow down and Chaos came flying from behind.
Snelleheng's just been clipped! He's been clipped by the Williams!
He was
Virtual
really
safety
slow.
car. He was really slow. He was rejoining the circuit, letting the drivers go. And I don't think Riker's read the situation at all. And yes,
and we have
contact
Dino
made.
And Smith both in the pits.
Huge opportunity for the drivers at the front of the pack to have got onto these inters. But interestingly, Lost and NXX stay out on the dry weather tyres. Again, it does make you wonder, is the rain going to last long enough? Or is it only a short spurt of rain that we're going to have?
I am gone on cones for one race, and all of a sudden it is chaos rolling on the floor laughing.
Got a drive-through penalty, no!
Unbelievable. It's going to take a minute to really gather as to exactly who is where, as NXX has now got past Lost Glader.
Yeah, we missed NXX taking the lead.
I just wonder if that was the weather conditions there, and whether Lost Glader is having some difficulties. The circuit's very, very wet now. It's definitely you definitely need to be on those intermediates. And now, I think that would put Smith as our provisional race leader again, if the front two are to pit again.
And crucial here is NXX with his 5-second time penalty, and they need to be careful at the pit entry, and NXX with a big slide going sideways entering the pits.
Yes, no penalties this time flashing up, but well, here comes Smith round the final corners.
Dino got a drive through.
Chaos staying out on the mediums. That's an interesting gamble.
Yes, learner driver picking up. Yeah, we did mention there, Dino did get a drive-through penalty. Sorry if we mentioned it was a time penalty, but it was a drive-through for Dino, which has really thrown the order at the front of the pack completely open here. With Chaos now staying out on the circuit, they do have a time penalty themselves. It's 8 seconds worth of penalties that they have accumulated. With Smith just 6 seconds even behind, gaining all the time with the treacherous conditions out there and then being on the intermediate tyres. So Smith now has a healthy gap as well to Lost, who decided to stay out battling NXX.
Oh wow, and look, like Chaos just within the last lap lost around, I don't know what it was, lost like 10 seconds to Smith.
Yes, it's been another 3 seconds in that middle sector.
Tire.
And you just feel exactly where Chaos is going to end up coming out when they go into pits, unless they're going to chance it, stay out and hope that that dry line starts appearing.
No, I don't think that would work out. And he has 5 seconds additionally.
Now he's in the pits. He's going to serve his 5 seconds. He doesn't pick up another penalty. So Chaos into the pits. Bitcher picks up a 3-second time penalty for track limit violations.
Matty going down the inside of the rollers. So Matty now back up to P9. And look for who that gamble worked out pretty well of not going into the pits during the first safety car, and that is Mocky, who is now in P5, who originally started in P19, I think. He started last and now finds himself in P5.
The man we didn't even mention as we made our way round to the grid. In the Haas, Mocky up 14 positions.
Sadly has 8 seconds of time penalty. So
all it's going to take is a safety car, an opportunity to get rid of that 5 seconds, and who knows, but they seem to be adapting pretty well to the wet conditions. Yes, NXX has
went past
through.
Snellehenk and Ivor in a small battle there as well. But this is not good at all for Kieran in the championship fight, with Smith now actually leading the race and Kieran all the way down 15. This will be big points for Smith.
It would indeed at this halfway stage of the season, as we see Jay Leakey gain on Mocky, but just
NXX.
wonder if
NXX had a massive moment.
And picks up 3 seconds for having that moment. Mocky moving quite a bit on the straight there. Left Jay Leakey nowhere to go, and except from the option of just putting the brakes on, which I'm not sure the Mercedes driver would be too happy about. I do believe the two drivers do know each other off the circuit, though. But if they don't already, they will definitely be getting more familiar with each other, I'm sure, after that close call. Still is the closest battle on the circuit. This has, however, though, brought Riker back in the mix, as Riker's now gains on Jay Leakey and Mocky.
Glader has pretty good pace. Around 2 or 3 laps ago, the gap to Smith was 6 seconds, and now we are at 4.2 seconds. So he's
Just
really gaining a lot of time on Smith.
Some drivers going for your higher downforce, and therefore being a bit more quicker in the wet and around the corners, whereas those going for straight line speed setups be fantastic in the dry, but going to be paying for it now, as we see Jay Leakey this time side by side and through from Mocky going into turn 1.
With the overtake.
And Riker now. Riker sneaking up behind. Yep, Chaos has got past Berger. Berger did have a little
Oh,
moment
and
to go back.
Mocky was off the track in turn 6 and is now at 11 seconds of time penalty. Lost Glader gained almost a second in the chicane. He gained 8 seconds in the chicane. 8 tenths, not 8 seconds.
As we see the battles all changing, it's always interesting to see how the gaps with Ivor there just picking up a further 3 seconds for track limit violations. Always difficult with the gaps. They always seem to appear a lot more when we go to the intermediates or to the wet tyres. Most drivers happy to sit just over a second behind the driver ahead as Riker gets past Mocky, and next up the road for them is Jay Leakey. But the gaps increasing. Kieran gets past Ivor. Ivor just off the circuit currently. Coming up the final Ravazza.
Take a look at the minimap. We have the first 4 drivers, and then we have a big gap to Jay Leakey.
Yeah, so it looks like there's going to be some battles forming in and around Jay Leakey over himself, all the drivers behind. As he points out, yes, on that minimap, lots of drivers.
Yeah, Smith going really deep in the chicane again, and Lost Glader gains 6-7 tenths again, just in the chicane. So that's the I think Smith is having problems with his braking points.
Yes, it's interesting, as I say, with the wet conditions. As much as drivers do like to keep the gaps, and we don't see as much racing as we do with the softs or the dry weather and the DRS. But you do see those who can adapt and who can drive and who might have practiced the circuits in the wet conditions, and those who do not. And one of those is definitely going to be Lost. Lost always says they are a fan of the wet conditions, and they are hunting down Smith with purpose at the moment.
Mocky in the pits.
I just wonder if that's Mocky serving one of their penalties, as Cavalos picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding into the pits. But yes, that gap now just 2 seconds from Lost to Smith. Smith not using their ERS again, whereas Lost seems to be using it any opportunity they can get, and it's not going to be too long. I reckon that striking distance for an overtake for first position, bar any safety cars, is going to be in about 5 laps time. If that, at this current rate, again, massive. Lost gains 4 tenths before we even get to the chicane. That striking distance has just gone down massively. It's not going to be in 5 laps time. It could even be at the end of the next lap, as he gains a whole second in that, from the midway through the middle sector, coming round to the end of the lap. It's our second to closest battle on track. Our closest battle is that of Goey trying a move on Ijverd. Oh, nearly making contact into the back of them. We are going to be keeping eyes, though, on the left of the screen, and that gap between Lost Glader and Smith, and obviously the further implications that can mean to the standings as well, as Goey seems to have backed off just a little bit, so we will flick back to our race for the lead. It looks as though Smith, the more comfortable driver, only just through the first couple of corners, but it's from Tozer, from here, that Lost Glader seems to be able to put the power down just a bit more than that Mercedes.
Now Goey finally past Ivor, and Mocky going past Ivor as well. So both has overtaking the Ferrari.
So was one Ferrari going one way, we've got the other Ferrari very much eyeing up a race victory here. They had a little bit of a moment there for Akram Minerali, but we're able to keep it nice and tidy, all 4 wheels facing the right way, and a lot braver through the chicane, gets them right on the gearbox of that Mercedes.
We just saw brilliant Haas teamwork. Goey letting Mocky passed after Moki's fresh sets of inters.
I might just have to cut you off there as it's only 3 attempts. Lost Glader's got the power down at the final corner. He's side by side and ahead, crucially, of Smith. Chooses to go to the left, which would then also mean they have got the inside line in case Smith decides to battle this one to the first corner, but the move done comfortably before. And Lost Glader taking the lead of the race, and you'd imagine is going to pull away and drive away with this victory from here, showing the pace that we have seen already. Someone, though, who's clearly not happy with their pace is Beecher, who did gamble earlier for softs, gambled again for inters, and have now gambled for wet weather tyres. Clearly not happy on the track. But yes, straight away that gap has appeared between Smith and Lost. I don't think Smith's going to be too disappointed with his championship rival Kieran, currently sitting down in 11th after they had a Ferrari pit error mistake, even being in a McLaren, as Goey now into the pits. I'm just looking by to see who's catching who the fastest. It looks as though Jay Leakey is pulling away from Riker still.
Later already almost 2 seconds ahead of Smith.
Oh yes, and with that rain, it's Smith is already going to be struggling to see the back of that Ferrari, and I expect that gap to only be going up as this race continues. So we've got 5 laps remaining, still 16 drivers. Not every driver is going to be scoring points today, but who knows what it's going to take as a late safety car. There's a lot of penalties further down that order. And in fact, we did mention earlier as well, NXX had some penalties. Still got 6 seconds now. But they are gaining themselves on Smith. But I just don't think they're going to have the time or the chance to catch the Mercedes and then get 6 seconds up the road.
Gooey another 3 seconds, and we see NXX really on the limit there. He's having he's really pushing. He's having a lot of moments.
He can sense that Smith is not as quick as he is. He may have those penalties, but he wants that pride in finishing ahead of them. And it wouldn't surprise me if before the end of the race we see NXX and Smith have a battle. As Aisha coming out of the pits, just having a little look through those penalties, and only 2 drivers can have penalties removed, and that is Tonkek and Cavalis. And Tonkek's got a nice 9-second gap behind, 11 seconds ahead, so they will be comfortable with the penalty that they've currently got, that they'll still be able to bring home a nice 4th position. Some good points, in fact, for both Williams, as they've progressed themselves to 4th and 6th respectively, whilst the other teams, a McLaren falling down the order from starting quite high up together, racing each other early on. They now fall to 8th and 11th, as we saw Riker just have a small moment on the track. And let's just have a little look at those position changes again as well. So NXX makes up some positions, however they do have some time penalties, but they have a nice big gap behind to Tonkek. So I think it's at the moment, bar any late safety cars, a nice hard earned podium for the AlphaTauri driver. Jay Leakey sneaks up 4 positions at the moment, hasn't picked up a penalty either, so some consistent driving for the Mercedes team, currently running 2nd and 5th. Smith unfortunately not going to be taking the race victory as it stands, with Lost Glader pulling away now over 3 seconds ahead. We have got yellow flags though, however, in sector 3, It was a moment for Tonkek, and that could put Tonkek at risk to Jay Leakey with the penalties.
It could. The gap is now at pretty much 5 seconds.
Yes, and with that spin, it's not going to do the tyres any good for the Williams driver. And yes, that's definitely going to put a smile on Jay Leakey's face, so they can keep things smooth and nice and get some pace. They already are gaining little bits on the Williams, although that gap keeps going up and then down again. It's going to be an interesting one to watch if Tonkek can pull those 5 seconds for 4th position. And speaking of position, we have got some battles going on again with 3 laps remaining. We've got Matty catching onto the back of Riker, and Mocky, who does have 6 seconds worth of penalties, is now on the back of Kieran, and Kieran having another moment. And I just wonder, I thought Mocky was going to make a very late move on the inside there at Tozer. It was a very optimistic idea, and I'm glad he's backed out of that one, as that was never going to end well.
NXX now a second behind Smith. So
Yes, definitely won't have the time to pull away.
Not on the street.
Yes.
So yeah, Smith probably running a lower down for setup.
Most likely the case. It's going to be difficult then for NXX to get the overtake, but also once through, it's they're pulling up ahead of the road, and I don't think they're going to be able to do so. That being said, Smith has gained considerably on Lost Glader on the last lap. The gap was previously at 3 seconds, or over 3 seconds. Now it's just 1.8. I wonder if the Ferrari has had a moment, as Beerger picks up another time penalty, even with the wet weather tyres. See again, Matty all over the back of the Williams. Riker has got lots of ERS to use at their disposal, but still not able to drop the Red Bull.
I'm just going through. We have
I'm just catching NXX, who's now right on the back of Smith. There is only a lap remaining. 2 laps remaining, in fact, 31st and the 32nd, and you can see how much straight line speed Smith has. NXX hasn't got any ERS remaining as well, and Smith runs a bit deep. NXX got an opportunity here coming out of the first chicane, goes around the outside, uses the track limits to their advantage, and NXX is through up to 2nd position provisionally. They do have some time penalties, so it's just whether they can pull away enough, and they're all over the place as well as they go into Tozer, drifting for us. Really putting on a show is NXX, but definitely not pulling away from the Mercedes as Kieran and Mocky's trade places.
no.
As there's also been contact between Matty and Riker. Riker is off the circuit. Matty was going slow, has now continued. Dino, I think, has managed to get through because of this. And Chaos right over the back of Riker. I wonder what happened to the Williams driver. Unfortunately, didn't catch that. Did you get to see that incident?
I didn't know that they didn't fix it. I am currently stuck in the screen of the penalties.
No worries. Well, we are watching here with Chaos Druid, who's right on the back of the Williams driver Riker. I wonder if they sustained any damage for that incident, but I seem to have got the power down again now. It has the Williams, but yes, Chaos has got time penalties. They are currently sitting on 3 seconds. They're not going to be getting that back, as it's not something the stewards are likely to overturn, but still would like to say that they are ahead of that Williams. I don't think they're going to get the opportunity to do so. Snell Henk hasn't picked up a time penalty and will take the position off Chaos as it stands. Kieran a further 9 seconds behind us. Smith and NXX continue to battle. Smith's got past NXX. I wonder if NXX had a moment. We saw them have some moments earlier on. And could this have included Aisha, who is a lapped vehicle, who is sitting just behind? And well, I was just seeing NXX again, rather adventurous the circuit. So I do wonder if that was NXX's own doing that. As we see them get very close to the back of Smith, very nearly taking out our championship leader. We are going to click back to Lost Glader, who does take the line. The Czechoslovakia, they pulled away 6.8 seconds to Smith. In fact, it was 6.5 as it then crossed the line. And Smith does come home in second. Tolkien has some time penalties themselves, so they're going to... no, they're not going to overtake NXX, who has got penalties, but they have pulled ahead of Jay Leakey enough by the looks of things. So Jay Leakey... In fact, there was an unserved penalty for Tomkek. Oh, no, it's the 5 seconds that gets added. It just came up again on the screen. For a minute, I thought there was a further 5 seconds. But Jay Leakey comes home in fifth. A fantastic finish for them. Dino made it up to sixth. Matty and then Riker. There was contact quite late on between the two of them. Chaos swaps places with Snell Henk, as we mentioned, with then a bit of a gap to Kieran, who brings home in 11th, does score some points nonetheless, and who knows, there could be some penalties given out ahead of them. Mocky taking an adventurous route across the line, which promotes Cavalos up to 12th after some penalties. Cavalos themselves did have a penalty as well. Goey and Bitch are the last two to come across the line as they go through the final revancer. Goey, who was unfortunately showing such great signs earlier on, falls down to 14th, with Mocky being in 13th. Kieran in the comments already. Could have been so much higher. It was an unfortunate one to Kieran today, who unfortunately got caught out in a selection of the wrong tyres. Unfortunately, when the wet weather was there, it was the perfect time to have pitted as well, to go on to the intermediates, but unfortunately put on the softs. So unfortunately we'll not be hearing from Kieran, who very much wanted that podium and very much could have been on that podium come the end. Did beat Inorganic though, but I don't think that was hard. The driver, the only driver to score less points than me this campaign. But here is our top three. Lost Glader, we said if they could turn on the style, get the power down and keep all four wheels facing the right way, they'd be up the top. And there they are, pipping our championship leader Smith to the post and taking home the race victory. And NXX, who gave us some fantastic action throughout, picks up third position for their troubles. But Smith does also get the bonus points for the fastest lap and pole as well. So just run through that order one more time. So lost our race winner from second on the grid. Smith we have in second place. NXX in third, Tonkek fourth, Jay Leakey fifth, Dino sixth, Matty seventh, Riker eighth, Snell Henk up 5 positions to ninth, Chaos up 6 positions, was phenomenal watching him early on, Kieran 11th, Cavalos 12th, Mocky 13th, Goey 14th, Beecher 15th, Aisha 16th, Russ the Oil Can 17th, Rozo in 18th, and then we had the Ferrari at the back of the pack that was lapped, and I just wondered if that caused anything earlier on. Well, it's been fantastic to be back in the comms booth. I haven't been in the comms booth for, I think it's a couple of seasons now. And, well, we're not going to mention last week because I don't think last week counts. But with Premier Division, there is Premier Division yet again tomorrow, so you can join us at the same time to watch what Learner Driver can do in Premier Division. Unfortunately, there is some further news as well that I would like to break, which some may care, some may not. But it regards myself as RPM entity, or the entity I should now be called, as I am announcing that I am stepping down from my admin and stewarding roles in RPM. I do wish the guys of the team here all the best with the future endeavours and carrying RPM and making sure RPM is the phenomenon that it should be and carrying it forward. But unfortunately, it is with regret that I say that I will be stepping down from my positions. So I will be therefore known only as the entity or the safety car if you are a learner driver, or Kieran, as you like to call me. But yes, fantastic time here. Can't thank the team enough. So definitely not leaving with a sour taste in my mouth, or hopefully leaving one in anyone else's. In terms of the racing today, though, it was fantastic action that we did see in round 7, the halfway stage of season 8. Championship standings will be updated later this week with steward decisions coming through as well, no doubt tomorrow. But again, I'd like to cap that off and say thank you very much for watching us today. I've been RPM Entity. With me somewhere is RPM Booty.
Yeah, I'm here, but I just realized something.
What have you realised?
Is a reserve driver, which means that Smith will get full points. He got the fastest lap and he will get maximum points.
And he also got the pole as well, so there you go. Maximo points for Smith. That will also promote Kieran, however, who may pick up some more points. They finished at 11th, so they made themselves now be further into the top 10, depending on whether there were any more reserves as well. So some interesting stuff there. I'm sure that might have been playing into the mind as to why Smith might not have defended as much to Lost. I'm sure our data man, the man with a plan, definitely knew about that one. But so there we go. Another week where we see Smith pick up the maximum points then and extend their lead in the championship standings. Till next week, goodbye.
Goodbye.